Welcome back to another deep dive with us. This time we're going to be looking at something you found interesting. Kamala Harris's concession speech after the 2024 election.
Right.
You specifically wanted to understand the tone and how she uses the word fight.
It is a fascinating area to explore. You know how a leader communicates after a hard-fought campaign?
Yeah,
Especially facing a loss can really reveal a lot.
totally.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, even glancing through the transcript beforehand, that word fight definitely jumped out at me.
Yeah.
But before we get into like the nitty-gritty of word choice, what was your overall impression of the speech's tone?
Well, the beginning definitely struck a chord of somberness, acknowledging the disappointment, but still laying the groundwork for a sense of hope and resolve.
Okay.
It's that classic blend of recognizing the current situation without letting it completely define what comes next.
It's like she's saying, okay, we didn't get the outcome we hoped for,
Right.
but that doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
Almost like she's prepping her supporters for the next phase, whatever that may be.
Exactly. And that's where the word fight really starts to take center stage. I mean, she uses it uh,
A lot.
a lot.
It really does feel like every other sentence is about fighting something.
Yeah.
What do you think she's trying to achieve with that repetition? Because honestly, it's not subtle.
Well, think about it this way. Repetition is a powerful tool in rhetoric.
Mhm.
It hammers home a point. It emphasizes it beyond a simple mention.
Yeah.
It's like underlining something, not once,
Right.
but 3 times in bold.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this case, Harris is using fight to keep her supporters engaged.
Okay.
Even though the election itself is over,
Right.
it's about keeping that energy alive.
So it's less about we lost this particular fight and more about the bigger fight continues.
You got it.
Okay.
And that's what's so clever here. The way she uses fight actually evolves throughout the speech.
Okay.
Initially, yeah, it refers to the campaign, the election itself,
Mm-hmm.
not what we fought for, that sort of thing. But then it broadens out to encompass these wider societal issues. The values she's arguing are worth fighting for.
Like when she lists the fight for freedom, opportunity, fairness.
Right.
It's almost like she's providing a roadmap of where to direct that energy.
Right. And what's fascinating is how she uses fight to highlight both the challenges and the potential rewards.
Okay.
She's not shying away from the fact that it's going to be tough,
Yeah.
but she's also reminding everyone why it's important to keep going.
It's that whole idea of when we fight, we win.
Yeah.
But sometimes the fight takes a while.
Right.
It acknowledges setbacks, but without losing that thread of optimism.
Exactly. It's about turning defeat into fuel for the next stage,
Yeah.
which, is not an easy thing to do,
Right.
but she's doing it partly through this powerful, persistent word choice.
She's not just saying keep fighting. She's really painting a picture of what that looks like, what it feels like.
Right.
All those phrases, roll up our sleeves, take a stand.
Uh-huh.
It's active. It's determined.
And then you have those contrasting images.
Yeah.
The light of 1 billion stars after talking about potentially entering a dark time.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
She's making it clear that even individual actions, those little glimmers of light, can add up to something significant.
Absolutely. And that sense of collective action, of a shared purpose, is key to maintaining momentum even in the face of a loss.
Okay, so we've got this interesting use of the word fight, the tone shifting from somber reflection to this call to action,
Right.
and some really powerful imagery to drive the message home.
Yeah.
Where do we even go from here?
Well, let's look at how she starts to get more specific about the nature of this fight she's calling for.
Okay.
Because she doesn't just leave it hanging there. She actually starts outlining what the next steps might look like.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
One thing that really struck me about how she structures this fight is that she doesn't just throw out abstract ideas.
Mhm.
She brings in these really compelling personal stories and anecdotes
Right.
to connect with the listener,
It makes it so much more relatable than just a list of policy points or slogans.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the people behind the fight,
Right.
and these are the stakes.
Exactly. For example, she talks about her time as a prosecutor,
Right.
seeing people at their most vulnerable who had every reason to give up, yet still found the strength to fight for justice.
I remember that part. She says, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. It sends chills down your spine just reading it.
And it does this subtle thing where it connects her personal background
Yeah.
to the broader message of the speech.
Right.
She's not just some politician giving a speech.
Right.
She's been there in those trenches, seeing what these fights actually look like.
It adds a whole other layer of authenticity to that call to action.
Right.
Because it's like, I've seen what's possible when people fight for what they believe in, even when the odds are stacked against them.
Exactly. It makes it feel less like a theoretical fight and more like, look, this is what everyday people are already doing. We can do this too.
But she also doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
She uses the word hard a lot when describing what lies ahead.
Right. Like, the fight for our freedom will take hard work.
Yeah.
But like I always say, we like hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work is good work.
Yeah.
Hard work can be joyful work. I love how she actually reframes hard work as something positive.
Yeah.
Joyful even.
It's not about drudgery. It's about purpose.
Right.
And it ties back to that idea of resilience we were talking about earlier. The fight might be long and difficult, but it's ultimately worth it because of what's at stake.
And that brings us to another element of the speech that I found really effective.
Right.
The way she uses imagery and metaphor to inspire her listeners.
Yes, it's not just about telling people to fight. It's about showing them what that fight can look like, what it can feel like.
Exactly. Like all those phrases we mentioned earlier, rolling up our sleeves, taking a stand.
Yeah.
These are active physical metaphors
Right.
that evoke a sense of determination of getting things done.
And then you have that powerful contrast with the metaphor of light, especially after she talks about the potential for a dark time.
Yeah.
Remember that line. But here's the thing. America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant billion stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth and service.
It's such a beautiful image.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the power of individual contributions.
Right.
Each person, like a single star, might feel small.
Yeah.
But together, they can create something immense and powerful.
And it's not just about grand gestures or winning elections. It's about those everyday acts of courage and kindness that can add up to real change.
She's giving people a way to connect their own actions to this larger fight, reminding them that they have agency, that they can make a difference, even when things feel overwhelming.
It makes you wonder, though, how these metaphors might land with different people listening.
Yeah.
What speaks to one person might fall flat for another.
Absolutely. Some might find them incredibly inspiring,
Right.
while others might find them overly sentimental or even manipulative.
Right.
But regardless of your interpretation,
Yeah.
there's no denying that she's using language to evoke emotion and try to spur people to action.
Which, at the end of the day, is the goal of any good speech, right?
Yeah.
To move people, to challenge their thinking, and to inspire them to do something.
Exactly. And I think Harris achieves that in this speech.
Yeah.
It's more than just words. It's a call to action wrapped in a message of hope and resilience.
It's a speech that will be talked about for years to come, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's given us so much to think about already, and we're not even done yet.
Right.
There's still so much to unpack. In the next part of our deep dive, let's explore how she gets even more specific about what this fight entails.
Okay.
And how she connects it to those core values she keeps emphasizing. Stay tuned. So I've talked about the tone, that persistent word, fight, the way she uses imagery and personal stories.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much she packs into this speech, all while acknowledging a pretty significant loss.
It really is a masterclass in political communication. You know, concession speeches aren't just about admitting defeat.
Right.
They're about setting the stage for what comes next, shaping the narrative for the future.
So it's less of an ending and more of a beginning.
Exactly. It's a chance to redefine the terms of the conversation,
Okay.
to plant the seeds for future action.
Right.
And in this case, Harris is using it to lay the groundwork for continued engagement, for keeping that fight alive.
And she's doing it in a way that feels both unifying and empowering.
Yeah.
Which, thinking about the broader context, is pretty remarkable. We're talking about a deeply divided nation facing some serious challenges.
Right. And yet in this moment, she chooses to focus on shared values, on the things that can bring people together, rather than drive them further apart.
Yeah.
Whether it resonates with everyone remains to be seen.
Right.
But strategically, it's a smart move.
It makes you wonder, though,
Yeah.
will this message of hope and resilience actually stick with voters? Will it translate into real action down the line? These are the questions we'll be grappling with as things unfold, right?
Absolutely. And it highlights a key point. Political speeches aren't just words floating out there in the ether.
Right.
They're events, moments in time that can shape our understanding of the world and potentially inspire change.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a real sense of awe at the power of language.
Yeah.
how it can be used to influence, inspire, and mobilize people around a shared purpose.
Right.
It's not just about winning or losing, it's about shaping the story that comes next.
Right. It's been an incredible journey exploring this speech with you. I always find it fascinating to peel back the layers of political communication and really understand the nuances at play.
And for you listening, we hope this deep dive has given you some new insights into Kamala Harris's concession speech, particularly how she used tone and language, specifically the word fight, to craft such a powerful message.
Remember, words have power. Pay attention to how they're being used, not just in politics, but in every aspect of your life.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep listening.